Here we have a rational function, and the first part of the problem asked us to find the vertical asymptotes. To find the vertical asymptotes, we always look at the denominator, right? So we're going to have, actually in this problem I think we need to do a few things. Let's go ahead and completely factor this as much as we can. So we can factor out an x. We're left with 8x, no, we're left with 8 minus x. In the denominator, we can factor out an x squared. We're left with x squared minus 64. So in the numerator, I want to remind you of this little trick. If you have 8 minus x and you factor out a -1, wouldn't that become a -8 plus x? So it's -1 times x minus 8. So if you have subtraction and you need it to be flipped around, you can factor a -1 out. So I'm actually going to do that on this problem. I'll have a -x times x minus 8 all over x squared times x plus 8 x minus 8. So the domain would not include 0, -8, or 8. If you're looking for the domain, but we're asked to find the vertical asymptotes. Well, you can see this does reduce here, and this reduces by 1, so we end up with -1 over x times x plus 8. So your vertical asymptotes are going to be x equals 0 because of that one. If you set this equal to 0, you have x equals -8. These are your two vertical asymptotes. The next part of the problem asked us to find out if there's a hole in the graph. Well, we do know there is a hole in the graph because of this right here. Those completely reduced out of the problem once we factored it. So at x minus 8 equals 0, there is a hole in the graph. So there's a hole at x equals 8. Now what is that actual point? Well, let's take 8. 8 stow x enter, and I'm going to plug it into my function after I reduced it. So -1 divided by x. I'm going to go ahead and multiply that out because it's easier to put in my calculator. X squared plus 8x. That gives me this number. Let's see, math, enter, enter. It's -1 over 128. So that point is 8, -1 over 128. So we have a hole at that point right there. Then it asked us to find the horizontal asymptotes. Well, the horizontal asymptote, remember we have those little rules that we have to follow. If this degree is less than this degree, this has degree 1 and this has degree 2, right? So, I'm sorry, this has degree 0. If this degree is less than this degree, our horizontal asymptote is y equals 0.